Okay. And then, okay, so today we are going to talk about the Job Shadow program itself. We're going to cover what is a job shadow in a nutshell, because it can be so many things. And then also what to do before, during, and after your job shadow. And then we'll talk about resources should you need it as you prepare. And then we'll definitely have time for lots of questions and answers at the end. I don't anticipate that this call will take the whole hour. So, whenever we are done, that is our gift to you for the rest of the afternoon. But before I move forward, I wanted to introduce my two colleagues that are here with me. Carla, would you like to say hello?
Hello, I'm Carla Rockold, and I'm with the Alumni Association. So I'm the Senior Director of Alumni Career Engagement. So if when you graduate, you have career services for life, and I'm one of the people that provides that for you. So your Alumni Association is here to help you at all stages of your career, and so I'm glad to be here to talk about this important event that you're about to participate in.
And then Katie.
Hi, y'all. My name is Katie Harvey. I'm the Assistant Director of Career Development for the College of Agricultural Sciences. I basically am the career advisor for the college. I support students with one-on-one appointments, job searching, resume help. I'm also one of the folks that does the Getting a Damn Job workshops that you may have attended earlier in the year. I really love the Job Shadow program. I think it's an amazing opportunity to get to know employers. If any of you have ever come to me or will ever come to me to talk to me about how to find a job, one of the first things I'm going to say is, hey, you should network. The Job Shadow program is a really great way to start building your network. So thanks, Wendy, for having me today, and I'm looking forward to talking with y'all. As we go through the program today, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and I will be keeping track of those so that we can make sure to answer those for you.
Yeah, and I also want to make sure that everyone knows that every college has someone like Katie in it. So it might not be Katie. So if you're, in engineering or health, you definitely have a dedicated career person. So if you have questions about that, feel free to let us know. We're happy to connect you. So with that, we'll get started. So first and foremost, what is a job shadow program? I am really hoping that everybody knows just a little bit since you've applied and were accepted into this program. But this is really an opportunity for you to either explore a company per se, or maybe it's a specific role that someone has or is doing. Or maybe you're just interested in the industry in general. You could also be interested in shadowing somebody that belongs to a similar identity as you to learn how they got to where they're going. There's lots of different things that you can do that brings you into wanting to do a job shadow. Also, this program is geared toward first and second year students, but we do allow everyone to apply. So we'll have lots of different student years in the program. This program can take place either virtually or in person. It's up to the host to determine what manner in which they're going to host. So some will say they're open to either, and that's something for you to work out with your host. Or some of them are just saying this is in person or this is virtual. So that's also a point of many questions for students. The job shadow should be educational and realistic. This is not like an internship. You're not going to be doing any work. It's one day, just like a real quick glimpse into the life of whatever this person is that you're shadowing. Kind of gives you an idea of, do I like this? Or maybe I don't want to do that. Um, so it's an observation of a person's daily work. So that could be a site visit, it could be attending meetings, it could be meeting with interns in that company, it could be having lunch with staff. I'm just kind of, it's up to the host to set up how the job shadow will be laid out for the day. So everyone's going to have a slightly different experience. This is also a chance for you to network with alums and company contacts. So a lot of your hosts are also going to be introducing you to other people in the company, especially HR. This is a great way and a great place to stay connected. And we'll talk more about that in the presentation. Okay, so a little bit about the Job Shadow Program timeline. You can see that little gold star there sitting at orientation. So we have 3 orientation sessions this week, and then our hosts will have orientation next week, and then Job Shadow kicks off on June 15th. Now, no, not everyone's going to have a job shadow on June 15th. It means that the host has selected a date somewhere between June 15th and August 28th. Just means we give them plenty of time to work around work schedules, vacation schedules, children's school schedules, etc., as well as your summer schedules. So that's that. Okay, and now I'll pass it over to Katie or Carla.
Should unmute myself. That's really helpful. So it's really important to know why job shadows matter. And there's really 5 reasons why this is a valuable experience that you should be participating in. And we're so glad that you signed up for. One is you're going to gain some real world insight that you can't get from job descriptions. You are going to build early, strong professional networks. You are going to increase your chances of getting hired later on. You're going to, because you're going to put this on your resume when you're done, you are going to get some skill building or just insights in a low pressure environment. And lastly, you're going to get some clear career clarity and direction. So I like to think of what you're about to do, job shadows, or whether you're doing informational interviews through this process. You're going from guessing about career to understanding it, and from applying cold to being referred in. And so this is what a student at OSU talked about with the job shadow and why it mattered. So I don't need to necessarily read it to you, but you can see that this person found this to be a very valuable experience that helped them reflect on what kind of environment they will most likely succeed in, and got some information about the job application process when they're graduating, and just what it's going to take to be successful in the career of their choice. So this is a great opportunity for you to learn what careers align with your skills and your interests, and get an insider's viewpoint on this whole process. Wendy. All right, so student expectations. So students have been matched manually with priority given to first and second year students. Hosts also attend an orientation session, which Wendy mentioned is going to happen next week. You are going to learn workplace etiquette. So you're going to get a sense of, how do people dress in this environment? How do they engage with one another? So this is all very valuable information for you to have before you're going into your first job. You want to connect with your host. That's the most important thing, is to get to know them and the people that they work with, so that you have a personal connection. Right now, we estimate that 80% of jobs are never posted anywhere, and they're found through personal connection. So this is your first opportunity to create a personal connection that's going to lead you to that hidden job market. And people hire others that they know and care about and trust. And so this is your opportunity for people to get to know you and trust you and value your knowledge and expertise in your future industry. Also, you're going to be utilizing network tips. So Networking, a lot of times people think it's so transactional, it feels unnatural or uncomfortable. But networking is just about meeting new people that you've never met before and getting to know them and having conversations with people. Networking happens all around us every day, whether we're sitting in class or participating in a club or we're going to an event like this, a job shadow or an informational interview session. You're networking. You're just getting to know people and having people get to know you. That's all that it really is. And then it's important for you to do thank you notes and follow-ups. So we're going to be talking a little more about that as well. So Wendy. So before your job shadow, remember, this is not an interview. So we want you to, go in and feel comfortable, but also be prepared. So this is just an opportunity that could lead to something perhaps in the future. As I mentioned, 80% of all jobs are not posted anywhere. So this is your chance to get to know some people who might lead you to an opportunity later on down the road. So it's very important, one, to research the organization where you're going to be going and doing your job shadow. So know about their products or services, their activities, check out press releases, their company website and blogs. Definitely go on LinkedIn and utilize LinkedIn to do some research about this company. Also, in the world of AI, you can use AI. You can prompt in ChatGPT, I'm going on a job shadow at Nike this month, and what kinds of things should I be doing to set myself up for success in that job shadow program? What questions should I be asking? You can also use AI to prepare questions that you're going to be using that day. And you want to have lots of questions because there might be opportunities throughout the day where there might be opportunities where you're walking from one point spot in the company to another, and you can have some small talk with the person that's running your job shadow. And this is a great opportunity to ask questions, especially things that you couldn't find online about the company. So create questions that focus on the industry, the company, specific job topics. Maybe find out, when do they do their peak hiring? How many internships do they offer annually? Where do they post the internships? When do they post the internships? Who else you should be networking with at the company that day if there's an opportunity to do so. Next, it's important to have your current resume prepared and ready to share with them. This is a great opportunity to get some professional people's insight into the quality of your resume and what sorts of things they suggest you do to make it stronger if you're going to be applying for internships and or jobs. So use these people's knowledge while you have an opportunity to do so. People love to give students feedback. That all the employers that have signed up to participate in this event, they do it because they love working with students and they want to see you be successful, especially OSU students and alumni from OSU. So please, utilize their knowledge and ask for their insights. Next one. So it's important that you email your host as soon as you know who they are, so that you can start creating a dialogue and creating a network of communication with them and get some more insight. So first of all, you want to tell them who you are, what year at school you are in, what your major is, that you're excited about being participating in this program and learning about what they do at their company or in their organization, and then maybe tell them what your availability is if you already know that. So that's just a sample email that you can use. Again, ChatGPT is a great thing. If you're kind of stuck and you don't know what to say, you can use it as, a brainstorming session. I'm reaching out to my host for my job shadow program. What are some of the things that I should include in my email? And then you can craft your email based on their suggestions. And I think somebody had a question in the chat, but we'll get to that shortly. Some of you are going to be participating in virtual information interviews. So rather than being in person at this company's site, you're going to be meeting with your job shadow host virtually. So this is an informational interview. It's a conversation between you and this individual to learn about the real life experiences of someone working in that field or your company of interest. So this is an opportunity to ask them lots of great questions that you've come up with. Learn about what is the day in the life of somebody in this field. What do they wish they had known when they were at your point in your education? What would they suggest you do? To find an internship or get further experience in this field to make you a great standout candidate. So you're going to have 45 to 60 minutes to talk to this person. And you can use any format that works for you, whether that's Zoom or Teams or WebEx or Google Meets. You and your job shadow host can determine the best format for this meeting. Next one. There we go. So during your job shadow, if it's virtual, obviously check your tech beforehand. Make sure your lighting's good, that your camera works. You want to see, this person wants to see you. So if your camera is not working, make sure you find a different computer that has a working camera before you participate in this. That's very important. Visual contact is very important to create connection with people. So test that tech. Also be mindful of what's in your background. So you don't want to have dirty laundry in the background or crazy things. I've seen all sorts of fun things on Zoom in my lifetime. So make sure you check your background, maybe blur your background if you can't make it look more professional. Thinking about what you're going to wear. Do you look professional during that? How are your facial expressions? They're a very important part of the conversation. Make sure you have those notes or questions ready at hand that you can ask during this conversation. And again, you don't have to have the questions guide the entire conversation, but it's just a jumping off point to develop conversations with them. Also, you might want to look at their LinkedIn profile beforehand. I think that's very important so that you have some things that you can ask them based on their profile. Say, hey, I checked your LinkedIn profile out and I noticed that, when you were at Oregon State University, you were in the marching band or whatever, or you majored in this major. What was the best class that you took in your major, or which class at OSU do you wish you had taken? Is there a club or organization or anything you did while you were at OSU that you think would be valuable for me to consider? So get those questions ready for them. And make sure that at the end, you also ask them, hey, are there any questions that I should have asked you today that you think would have been important? And then, of course, be gracious and thank them for their time. Next slide. All right, so during your job shadow, if you're doing an in-person job shadow, practice your route beforehand. So know how to get there, use Google Maps or whatever it is to determine how long it's going to take you to get to that location in advance on another day. Be mindful of traffic issues and where to park. You might even want to ask your job shadow host for advice. Like, I'm going to be driving from this area. How long do you think it's going to take me on an average day? Where might I be parking, especially if they forget to tell you? And so think about how you're going to prepare for getting there on time, because that's one of the most professional things you can do to make a great first impression is to show up on time. And then dress appropriately. If you aren't sure what to wear, ask your host. They'll let you know. Some places, depending on where you're job shadowing, you might have to wear closed-toed shoes, or you might have to wear long sleeves. So definitely be mindful of that. Some places they might ask you to wear a hard hat while you're there, or be mindful of where you're walking. So know if you're going to be walking a lot and what kind of comfortable shoes you might need to wear. Always be friendly and attentive and stay focused on the conversation at hand. Show interest in what they're saying, and be sure to ask follow-up questions. Jot down notes it's great to bring a notebook with you, a small notebook, and you can take notes while you're participating in the job shadow. And if you are going to take photos, be sure to ask ahead of time because there might be rules or regulations about photography in their building. As we said, have those questions ready at hand. And again, ask them, is there anything I should know that I forgot to ask? And then again, be gracious and thank your host for their time and their effort to give you a great opportunity that day. Next. All right. And now Katie's going to talk.
Yeah, thanks, Carla. So you've done this great activity, whatever your job shadow was, whether you were tromping around in the Lynn County parks or you did a virtual informational interview, you've had this great experience. So now what do you do? And that's a really common question with a lot of career-related events after career fairs or things. It's like, what do you do next? So always be sure to send a thank you message or note. This can be an email that will get there faster and you don't have to deal with postage. Just making sure that you send them a thank you, that you really appreciated the time that they spent, and that maybe you mentioned something that you learned or something that you enjoyed. It's really valuable. And I've actually had employers tell me that one of the reasons they hired me for a job was because they really appreciated my thank you note. Like that sounds wild, but that's real. So just don't neglect that. Also think about incorporating your host and and the organization into your professional network. So for instance, if you have a LinkedIn profile, if you don't yet, make one or go onto OSU Connections, but make sure that you add that, you follow that organization on LinkedIn, that maybe you connect with a few of those different people on LinkedIn and you kind of keep up with them and that you kind of keep them as a part of your network. Another thing that you can do is ask your host if they have recommendations for others you should connect with to learn more. So depending on either within that same company or maybe they're a company that works with a lot of other companies in similar industries. Making one connection, it can become a web, right? So you can meet one person within the company who introduces you to another person who introduces you to someone in a different industry, in a different company, but within the same industry. So asking them and using their knowledge, asking who else can I connect with? Make sure that you add this experience to your record of professional activities and connections. So meaning, this is something that you maybe put on your resume. This is something that you might talk about in a scholarship letter or a letter, a cover letter. Engaging in professional development, especially outside the classroom, is a really important asset for you as you're going into your career. And it's really important that you hype that up, right? So especially if you're a first or second year student, you don't have a lot of job experience, but you can say, yeah, I did a job shadow one summer. And so I learned all these things or I made these connections. That's something that you can write down and that you can incorporate into your different kind of career documents and career conversations. It's also really helpful when you're going to a career fair and you're meeting different employers. You can say, oh, I went to this one, I did this one job shadow at this other company. I really liked it. Can you tell me more about your relationship to them? Things like that. Make a plan to stay in touch going forward. So, adding them on LinkedIn, that's a great first step. But that's not the only step, right? You don't just add someone on your social media and then just never connect with them again. So sometimes what I'll recommend to students is to, maybe every couple of months reach out to that host again and say, hey, I saw an article about the work that the company's doing, or, I saw an article that was related to some of the something that's important within that industry. I thought you might be interested. I was, really interested in seeing what your take was on this. Or you can update them and say, hey, since the job shadow, I really enjoyed that experience. And so since then I've gotten an internship at, this other company. And so I learned so much from the job shadow. Really excited that I'm able to use that knowledge, right? So kind of keeping them up to date on what you're doing as a student and as a young career professional, but also make a point of contact. So whenever you're building your network, one of my colleagues talks about building it as creating a fandom. So you're interested in something, and maybe you're interested in environmental sciences, right? So you go do a job shadow at a host organization that's really engaged with ecological restoration. That's your fandom, right? So they're going to want to talk to you about cool stuff happening within the fandom. They're going to want to talk about, oh, there's this cool new native species plan, or they're doing removal. Like those are all things that you can talk about with your network. So that's a way to kind of make that plan going forward. Think about, okay, every couple months or so, I'm going to reach out and maybe I'm going to talk to them about something I saw in the news, or maybe I'm going to update them on where I'm at. And make sure that that network effects works in your favor. So you really do want this to be a positive experience for both you, but also the host company, right? So it's important you show up, you're prepared, you have questions to ask. And first impressions are very important, right? So you're going to want to make sure that they are happy with what you brought to the table, so that maybe down the line they can help find a job for you or an internship for you. So again, sort of reiterating, this is not the end of the experience. It's not like a one day, bye, great to see you, great to meet you. I'm never going to hear from you or talk to you ever again. This is the beginning of an experience. And if this doesn't work, if it's not like you're like, oh, I went and I did a job shadow at this company and I really don't want to work in this industry anymore, or I really am not interested in this company, that's okay. You don't have to like keep that a really active relationship, but also you don't know people who know people, right? So even if it's not the company you want to work for, even if it's not exactly the industry, I know so many people who are like, oh yeah, I got this job because my mom's sister's cousin's auntie, right, knew somebody. So just keep that as a relationship that you hold on to some degree, so that you are able to, use that relationship hopefully in your favor in the future. And next slide. So this is just a really great a really great, gosh, I can't think of words right now. Testimonial is the word I'm looking for. That the student did. They were able to build a really great connection with an alumni, and then they were able to actually get an internship at that company the following summer. So it's to show that this experience can be a really important one for you. It can be something that helps launch off the next step in your career path. It also might be something where you go and you experience it and you're like, oh, okay, that was interesting, but maybe that's not the route I want to go. That's okay too. But just look at this as a really great learning opportunity, a really great experience to build more of a network that can maybe down the line help you get that internship, help you get that first job, help you network with someone who can offer those opportunities for you. So I love this testimonial because I think it's such a great example of how this can be helpful for you. So final resources, final resources. We've got some things on our website. So some resources about how to network, how to build a LinkedIn profile or use LinkedIn if you don't have them. We also have some information on our website about informational interviewing and job shadowing. And you're always welcome to meet with your career advisor in your college to talk about, hey, I'm doing this job shadow and I'm wondering what should I ask, or I'm just a little nervous. What can I do? So just want to make sure you're aware of all those really great resources we have. And I think with that, we are going to open it up for questions.
I did see some questions in the chat, so let me pull that up here. Let's see. So if during the date that you will attend your job shadow, you get selected for another program run by OSU, would you be penalized for not being able to attend one of them? Well, I can't speak to the other program and what, their kind of policies are. What I do tell students regarding the job shadow is hopefully by the date of your job shadow, like the actual day of, you know what's happening. So I always tell students, if you find that you have been accepted for an internship or get a research opportunity or something of the sort, of course, we're going to support you in that. And so our policy is, please let us know. As soon as you know, let us know and let your host know. The reason is, one, professional courtesy, that we aren't waiting around for you, because your host has planned a day and we don't want them to sit and wait. And the other is, there is a wait list of students who we could then slate right into that spot and take that opportunity. So as soon as you know, please let everybody know. I hope that makes sense. Um, let's see. Are the meeting times scheduled already, or do we ask in the introduction email? You should ask in the introduction email. And usually what I do is I work, this is my recommendation, but you can make it more efficient if you like. In your introduction email, just kind of put exactly what we said, who you are, that you're excited, that you've been matched, you're looking forward to connecting. And then I usually let the host kind of say, here's some dates that work for me, and then go from there. You can always check the website too, and look for your host on there. Some of them may have said, I'm not available on these dates, just because they will be out of the office or, out of the country. Um, what happens if the job shadow host is not the same company we chose anymore? Um, Erica, I'm wondering, do you mean that we matched you with a company you did not select and that we selected for you? You can feel free to update that.
I wonder if they mean that the job shadow host maybe left the company and is no longer working at that company.
Yeah. So if we matched you with someone and they're no longer at that company, please let us know as soon as possible. I was your second choice and no longer work. Oh, and that person no longer works there. Erica, can you email me directly? I'm gonna put my email here. Um, because we have had a couple of folks that were no longer at their company, and I thought we had taken care of anybody. Um, yeah, so please contact me and we'll figure that out. Um, I will say that the program this year, it was incredibly full. Yeah, anytime this week, Erica, no hurry. We had a lot of applications, so um, everything's full. How should we go about the resume if it's in a virtual meeting? Yeah, Katie, you want to take that one?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I would say even nowadays, I mean, yeah, we'll sometimes carry paper copies of our resumes to places, but it's becoming very common for your resume to be, electronic, right? So, if you're in a virtual meeting, you can have it as a PDF or a document and send it to them, if you're meeting in a Zoom as a way to attach documents, or you can email it to them afterwards as a document. For in-person stuff, I even had students that'll have like business cards with a QR code with their resume on the back. So that's an interesting way. But yeah, feel free to say, hey, can I attach my resume here? Or can I email you a copy electronically, and then they can look at that. Um, there's another question that says, if I had previously communicated with other OSU faculty and switched from one job shadow to another, do I have to do anything with the first host that I'm not doing the job shadow with? So that's a great question. So it sounds like maybe I don't know if you were placed with someone and then you switched, or that would be something that Wendy would probably need to know about, or be
Yeah, I know this one, Haley. We've taken care of it for you.
I had a thought too, like students that are doing virtuals, you can also ask the person to check your LinkedIn profile too.
Yeah.
Get some insight on how your LinkedIn profile looks to them.
These are all really great questions. So, I did want to, while people are thinking, I wanted to mention one thing that is happening next week. I am hosting a DIY job shadow session. And you might ask, why would you do this? And the reason is because there's only so many slots that we can put students in this job shadow program. And there are so many students that didn't get matched or maybe didn't get matched with the company that they were hoping to. or they're just a student who really wants to participate in something like this, but the timing for this just does not work. So my colleague Chloe and I will be hosting the DIY Job Shadow program next week. We'll have 2 dates, the QR codes there on the screen. This will all be emailed out to you. If you are interested but still can't attend, please go ahead and register. We will email this out to everybody who has been registered. And this will talk a little bit more about, well, let me rephrase that. So the DIY program is how to do it from step one. The current program where we have matched you has taken part of those steps out of the process for you. So this will just go through how to find people, where to find people, how to ask, that kind of thing. So similar conversation, but a little extra material. So
And
yeah.
Wendy, in that DIY event, are you going to talk about OSU Connections?
Heck yes, we are.
All right, good.
Yeah, I got
We
my
have
screenshots ready to
thousands
go.
of alumni that say they're willing to help, which means they're
Yeah.
willing to do those things.
Yeah. So is everybody ready for their job shadow? Yeah. Is anybody surprised about their job shadow location? Everybody's excited. Yes, you're welcome. Well, we're really excited to provide this program for you. I think it's something super awesome. I was one of those students that changed my major, I don't know, at least a dozen times. My parents gave up on me. And this is a program that I built because it was something that I needed as a student. Um, I needed to find out what I didn't like more than what I did like, because for me, I liked way too many things. So finding out what I didn't enjoy was really important so that I could check those things off the list. So glad that you all are doing this. I look forward to hearing about how things go. If you're able to take pictures, please do share them with me afterwards. We love to see what everybody gets up to. And if anybody on this call is going to Martson Highland Cow Farm, please, please, please send us a cow photo. We beg of you.
We need to
So,
take a trip there one of these days, Wendy.
I know.
It's such a lovely place. But yeah, I want to reiterate this, so much of this is learning, yeah, what you like, but also what you don't like. I thought I was going to be a kindergarten teacher actually when I was in college, and I worked at a kindergarten for a year. And I thought, no, I don't want to do that, but I still really liked education, right? And so I was like, oh, maybe kids that are a little older, and I ended up in college working with college students. So I really just want to reiterate that, like, if you don't think like, oh wow, this was amazing, this was exactly what I wanted, that's okay. That's all part of the learning process, is figuring out sometimes what you don't want to do. Or maybe you're going to go and you'll be like, wow, this is exactly what I wanted, and now I've got it confirmed. I know this is what I want to do with my life. Like, that's great too, because then you've got this, a network that and you can even ask people to be mentors and things like that. So just want to reiterate, all of this is really good learning, and I hope you all have a great time, even if the answer is, I don't know if I want to do this after all. But thank you, Wendy, for having us and for leading this great program.
Yeah, so thanks to Katie and Carla, and thanks to all of you. We hope you have a wonderful rest of the afternoon. And you get 20 minutes back in your hour. If you still have questions, we'll still stick around afterwards here. But otherwise, thanks for joining us and have a great time at your job shadow.